There is an Aramaic word that Jesus spoke over broken relationships, severed bonds, and hearts so wounded by betrayal that the people carrying them had already decided they would never fully trust another human being again. It is not a word of consolation, and it is not a platitude designed to make pain feel more bearable. It is a vibrational command, a living frequency that reaches into the energetic structure of the human heart and removes, at the deepest possible level, the corruption that broken relationships leave behind. The world will tell you that time heals wounds, but 2,000 years of evidence suggests something far more precise has always been available. Jesus used this Aramaic code not to help people feel better about their relational pain, but to fully dissolve the interference frequencies that pain installs, permanently and completely. That code is Rakma, and it carries within it a power so ancient and so complete that the human heart, upon receiving it, has no choice but to remember what love was always meant to feel like. By the end of this teaching, you will carry it with you, and every relationship in your life will begin to respond. In the ancient Aramaic tradition, relationships were not understood as social arrangements between two individuals. They were understood as frequency events, encounters between two energy fields that, when aligned with the divine blueprint, created something neither field could generate alone. The Aramaic masters taught that every human being carries within their energy architecture a relational frequency, a living signal, continuously broadcasting and receiving the vibrational imprint of every significant relationship they have ever experienced. When those relationships are whole and aligned, the signal is strong and life-giving. When they are broken, the signal becomes corrupted, and the person carries that corruption in their field indefinitely, until it is addressed at the frequency level. Jesus understood this dimension of human suffering with complete clarity. In every encounter with people whose hearts had been shattered by betrayal, abandonment, or relational loss, he did not counsel them to try harder to forgive or to choose love more deliberately. He addressed the frequency directly. The Aramaic command he used, the one that reached into the relational layer of the human energy field and initiated its full restoration, was Rakma. In its most reductive modern translation, Rakma is rendered simply as love or mercy. But in its full Aramaic dimension, it carries something far more precise and far more powerful than either of those English words can contain. Rakma in Aramaic holds the resonance of the divine womb, the creative, sustaining, all-encompassing love that brought everything into existence and continues to hold it in being. It is not an emotion. It is a frequency. It is the fundamental vibrational signature of the cosmos at the level of relationship, the sound the universe makes when it is in complete relational alignment with itself. When Jesus spoke Rakma, he was not describing love. He was releasing the living frequency of love directly into the broken field and commanding the corruption to yield. Understanding these frequencies is the first step, but mastering their vibration in your daily life is where the true miracle happens. I receive many messages asking for the correct pronunciation and sequence of these sounds, so I have prepared 2 sacred guides to help you bridge this gap. You can find the link pinned in the comments to begin your practical journey today. To understand what Rakma does to a wounded heart, you need to understand how the Aramaic masters described the relational wound itself. They did not see heartbreak as simply an emotional event. They saw it as a vibrational fracture, a moment in which the relational frequency of a person's energy field suffers a structural break, leaving a gap through which interference floods continuously. That gap is not metaphorical. In the Aramaic model of the human energy body, It is as real and as measurable as a break in a physical structure, and it does not seal on its own. No matter how much time passes, the interference that pours into a relational wound carries specific frequencies. Bitterness, which the Aramaic masters described as a crystallized low vibration that hardens around the edges of the break. Self-rejection, which installs itself as a frequency conclusion that love is no longer safe to receive, and what the ancient teachers called the frequency of desertion, the vibrational belief, installed at the energetic level that you are fundamentally someone who will be left. These three interference frequencies, once established in the relational field, corrupt every subsequent relationship before it even begins. They do not require conscious thought to operate. They run automatically, beneath awareness, shaping every encounter with another human being. This is precisely why Rakma was the command Jesus chose for relational restoration. Unlike words of comfort or encouragement, Rakma does not address the emotional layer of the wound. It goes directly to the vibrational fracture. When Jesus spoke Rakma into the relational field of a broken person, he was not telling them that things would get better. He was issuing a frequency command that dissolved the bitterness, canceled the self-rejection installation, and dismantled the desertion frequency at its root. Love was not something they had to learn again. It was something they suddenly, completely, and permanently remembered. If this teaching is stirring a deep resonance in your heart, it is a sign that your soul is ready to return to its original blueprint. To support you in this transition, my guides explain the layers of meaning behind the first sacred words, offering you a path to clear the interference of the world. The link to access these tools is waiting for you in the pinned comment. The architecture of Rakma is as precise as the wound it is designed to heal. The Aramaic masters taught that the word moves in a specific vibrational sequence that mirrors the exact process of relational restoration at the energetic level. Of the opening sound, the Ra activates the movement layer of the energy field, creating what the ancient teachers called a flow-breaking vibration that interrupts the static pattern in which a wounded relational field becomes frozen. Broken hearts do not bleed continuously. They freeze, and Rakma begins by thawing the freeze, the central sound, the KH, deep in the throat, originating from the place the Aramaic masters associated with the chest and the seat of relational energy. This is where the command reaches into the fracture itself. It does not seal the break from the outside, the way emotional effort attempts to. It fills it from within, with the frequency that was present before the wound existed, the original divine relational signal that preceded every relationship and outlasts every rupture. This is the sound the heart was making before it learned to fear. And when it hears Rakma, something in the deepest energetic layer of the body recognizes it immediately. The closing, the Ma, is the ground and seal. It brings the restored relational frequency into the physical body, anchoring it in the cellular field rather than leaving it as a temporary emotional state. Every healing Jesus performed through Rakma was not a temporary reprieve from pain. It was a permanent restructuring of the person's relational energy architecture. The bitterness did not soften. The self-rejection did not diminish. The fracture did not simply close. Everything that had entered through it was expelled, and the original blueprint was sealed permanently in its place. Here is the dimension of this teaching that makes it intensely personal. Every broken relationship you have ever experienced, every betrayal, every abandonment, every moment of rejection so deep it changed how you saw yourself, left a frequency signature in your relational field. You have been carrying those signatures, and in ways you may have only partially understood. They have been shaping every new relationship you have entered since the original wound. This is not psychology, it is energetic reality. And it is not your fault. It is interference. The extraordinary truth that Jesus demonstrated through Rakma is that relational wounds are not permanent features of the human energy field. They are interference frequencies, foreign vibrations that entered the field through a traumatic event and have never been removed. Just as a corrupted signal in any transmission system can be overwritten by a clean and superior one, the interference frequencies of relational wounding can be completely replaced by the original divine relational frequency that Rakma carries. Not diminished, not managed. Replaced entirely. This is why the people Jesus spoke Rakma over did not leave his presence with advice to practice forgiveness. They left with something far more complete. They left with relational fields that had been returned to their pre-wound state, not innocent in the naive sense, but whole in the deepest energetic sense. They were capable, sometimes for the first time in years, of receiving love without bracing for its withdrawal. They were capable of trusting not because they had decided to be brave, but because the frequency that made trust impossible had simply been removed. This is what awaits you on the other side of Rakma. Now bring this teaching into the present moment of your body and your heart. Everything described so far is not a historical account of miracles that happened to other people 2,000 years ago. It is a living frequency technology that is as active, as precise, and as available right now as it was in every moment Jesus used it. The Aramaic masters were emphatic on this point. The power of Rakma does not diminish with time, because it does not originate in time. It originates in the same eternal frequency that created the human heart, and it will remain accessible as long as the heart exists. The practice Jesus modeled for his disciples in moments of relational restoration was rooted in a single understanding. The person in front of you is not their wound. They are the original blueprint beneath the wound, and the speaker who carries Rakma as a living command rather than as a concept or a hope is capable of reaching that blueprint directly. This is the authority Jesus said his followers would carry. It is not metaphorical. It is vibrational, and it begins the moment you choose to activate it consciously. Place one hand gently over your heart. Let the other rest open in your lap. Breathe slowly until the physical tension in your chest begins to soften. Bring to mind, briefly, the relational wound that has been present the longest, the one you have stopped speaking about, because you have explained it so many times. It feels like it belongs to you now. It does not belong to you. Now speak Rakma, steadily, completely, with the full understanding of what it commands. Let the RA move. Let the KH reach. Let the Ma seal the field, will respond. It was always waiting for exactly this. You have been carrying something that was never yours to carry. The bitterness, the guarded heart, the quiet refusal to fully trust or fully receive. None of it was a character flaw, and none of it was the natural outcome of having loved and lost. It was interference. And interference, in the Aramaic understanding of the human energy field, is not a life sentence. It is a frequency condition with a specific and available cure. Rakma was spoken by Jesus over some of the most relationally devastated people in the ancient world. Women who had been publicly shamed, men whose families had abandoned them, people whose social and relational worlds had completely collapsed under the weight of loss and rejection. Not one of them left the encounter carrying the same field they had arrived with. Not one of them was told to be patient, to hibit time, or to work on their ability to forgive. The frequency command was given. The field responded. The restoration was complete. This is your inheritance, as much as it was theirs. The distance between you and them is 2,000 years of calendar time. At the frequency level, there is no distance at all. Rakma operates outside of time because the wound it heals was never temporal. The love it restores was never absent, only covered by interference that was never supposed to be permanent. Speak this word over every relationship that carries the weight of unresolved pain. Speak it over the people who hurt you and the version of yourself that was changed by being hurt. Speak it until the covering lifts and the original signal of your heart whole, open, and fully capable of giving and receiving love returns to full frequency. Visit Divine Light Academy at the link below to access my complete guides and start your journey into the living language of the Masters. But before you go, I want to hear from you. What did you feel during this session? Comment the word restoration below if you felt a shift in your energy today. We read every response, and your testimony strengthens this entire community of light. Rakma was always moving toward this moment. Jesus spoke it first. The universe carried it forward through every century. And today, in this teaching, it has found its way to the exact field, your field, that needed it most. Right now, before you close this video, come to the comments and tell us, what did you feel? What shifted? We read every single response. And if this teaching found you today, subscribe to this channel. Every week we go deeper into the ancient frequency codes that were always meant to be yours. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation.